Alrighty, traders, happy Sunday. I hope you guys are all having a great start to your week. Welcome to my weekly outlook for this week. Like I said, I hope you guys all having a great start to your week, and I hope you guys all had a great weekend also. And I hope you guys are just ready to hit the charts. But we're just going to jump right into things today, just to kind of set some expectations. We've got about 5 different charts that we're going to be going over. You can see them marked right here. I'm going to be giving you guys my bias and a couple different setups that I am looking at, as well as just kind of like, of course, recapping, because a lot of the trades that we're looking at right now have been an accumulation of the past couple of weeks, looking just basically waiting for the markets to move, but we'll look more into that. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's webinar. If this is your first time on here, welcome. My name is David Schinkel, and I'm the CEO and founder of Positive Traders. And I do these weekly outlooks just about every single week for free. That way you guys can get an idea of the market. And with that being said, that is just my idea of the market. So I just want to make sure that that's very clear. As always, just my disclaimer is that, guys, these are just my opinions that is being said. All the information on here should just be taken as informational and educational purposes only. Please don't take it as financial or investment advice, okay? But let's get right into things. Let's look at the economic calendar, okay? So starting it off this week, it's actually a very light week. We're finally getting a little bit of a breather in terms of the fundamentals. If you've been following along with just the past couple weeks of what's been going on in the markets, we had 2 interest rate decisions last week, plus just a whole slew of other high impact events. But of course, the big thing last week was 2 interest rate decisions. And then the week before that was also 2 interest rate decisions and non-farm payrolls, because it was the first Friday of the month. So we're finally getting a little bit of a breather this week. I'm just kind of scrolling through. I'm not going to stop for each one, but just to kind of take a glance, there is definitely some high impact news this week, but no interest rate decisions, nothing super crazy. Wednesday, we do have a couple things. We have some inflation reports from CAD. We've got some labor reports for the Australian dollar. We've got some retail sales for the US dollar. So Wednesday's a pretty big day. Tuesday's got a couple things going on. We've got some earnings reports for the pound, wage price index for the Australian dollar. And then it looks like towards the end of the week, we've got Governor Polaz speaking for the Canadian dollar on Thursday, and then some parliamentary elections that begin in Australia on Friday. Okay, so nothing that really sticks out too much. Like I said, no interest rate decisions. If you look at the things like CPI, that's just standard inflation, right? Consumer price index, all right? Just like very similar to GDP, gross domestic product, something to look at. We can see it's month over month. Now, there is some medium impact year over year reports, so this could be a little bit volatile for the Canadian dollar. But yeah, like I said, just main point I'm trying to get across is that there's nothing super crazy, but just know that there are some things this week, okay? So I want to jump straight into it, guys. Just get right into the core of the value. Not spend too much of your guys' time this evening. By the way, I also meant to say earlier at the start, Happy Mother's Day. So if any of you guys are moms listening to this, Happy Mother's Day. Or even if you aren't a mom, I hope you guys got to celebrate it with your moms. So hope today was a good day for you. But to get into the technicals, all right? So if you've been following along, if you've been here on these outlooks for the past 2 weeks, you guys know that my bias on the dollar index for the past 2 weeks has been short, all right? I've been looking for weakness on the dollar index, and I've been very, very, very clear with that, because I've probably said it about 2 or 3 dozen times just in the past 3 weeks, or the 3 webinars. So it's been very, very, very clear if you've been following me that I am bearish on the dollar. And we can see it's taken its sweet time, right? This is the daily chart on the dollar index, but it is getting there. It is moving lower. And what I've done is I've marked off using this yellow box right here, just a general area of where I think the dollar index is going to move to, okay? So yes, I am still, just to put it on the record so it's very clear once again, I am bearish on the US dollar for this week. And this is my general target, okay? Now, and to be quite honest, I think the bearish dollar is actually just starting to pick up from the momentum that we created last week. So this is the daily. You can't really see a whole lot that's going on because it's been consolidating so much. So I'm just going to break it down onto the 4 hour, and we can see just in relationship to where price has been the past 2 weeks, we're just now finally breaking those lows, right? Just kind of to draw like a crude area of support. If I was to, just this new green box that I'm drawing right now, we're breaking that area. So I think we're going to see a nice dip to the downside this week on the dollar, okay? So with that, just to kind of add some value, maybe it's your first time watching me, maybe you don't know, how, why you should follow me, or just to add some credibility. There's a link in the description to my free Telegram. Most of you guys watching this are probably in there. And in there last week I posted, so last Monday I posted, so on the 6th, you can see right here, this is a screenshot, but it's not just a new screenshot. You can see it's time-stamped, and just to fact check me, you can go into the Telegram and see the screenshot for yourself. From the 6th, I posted it. So this is the screenshot. This is the daily chart of Euro USD. And obviously, if I'm bearish on the US dollar, then I'm expecting Euro USD to go higher. So I posted this chart. Pretty clear that I'm expecting price to go up towards the 113 area. And then we go to Euro USD right now, and it is sure enough on its way up to that area. Now, obviously, there's a lot of consolidation last week, right? It's just now starting to pick up momentum, like I was saying a couple minutes earlier. So we're just now starting to break out of the consolidation from last week. So 113 is definitely what I'm eyeing. Now, I went over this with my students at the end of last week, is that if you have not capitalized getting into a buy already on Euro USD, even though I'm bullish on Euro USD, I personally am not going to take a buy on Euro USD, okay? And that's because for me personally, I'm more of a swing trader, and you might be able to, you can definitely intraday trade opportunities to the upside, so if you're a scalper, intraday trader, you're looking for some, quick in and outs of the market, you can catch some to the upside. But for me, being a more of a swing trader, it's difficult to find a good risk to reward if I'm going to buy, on a higher time frame. So for me personally, I'm looking for Euro USD to move up higher, and then ultimately, and it's probably not going to come this week, it's probably not going to come next week, and it's probably not going to come, at least within the next 2 weeks, it's probably not going to happen. But Euro USD, I will be in the next couple of weeks here taking a big short on Euro USD that I plan to hold for a long time. Obviously, we're going to take it, day by day, week by week, month by month with the trade. But if all goes well, I'd like to hold the Euro USD short down towards, like 2017 lows, towards parity. So like a nice, 500 to 1,000 pips is what I'd like to short Euro USD for. Okay, and that's really what I'm waiting for. But obviously on these daily webinars, I'm here to give my analysis of what I think is going to happen this week. So this week, I do think Euro USD will climb higher on dollar weakness. Okay. Now I skipped over gold. I'm going to go back to gold very quickly. Now I said last week when we were making this double bottom, everything that I'm showing, by the way, I'm showing on the daily chart, so you guys just know. Okay. But I called upside on gold. All right. Inevitably, right? You should just always know that if somebody, well, just if the dollar goes down, gold goes up for the most part. All right. Now it's not all the time, but most of the time that happens. If dollar goes up, gold usually goes down. Okay. So since I've been bearish on the dollar, I've been bullish on gold. I've been waiting for gold to break these highs though. If you were on last week's webinar, I said if it broke these highs that it would have no problem moving up to 113. We did break these highs last week, but we didn't really have a conviction, obviously. If you were waiting for confirmation to place a buy on a possible breakout on gold, you can see that didn't happen. But I do think gold is going to go up higher. 1,300 is definitely in the cards for gold. Okay, so if you're short on gold, I'd be careful. If you're long on gold, I think you are doing just fine. Okay. USD Swiss franc, same thing. If you've been following along with these weekly outlooks for at least the past 2 weeks, you know that I've been waiting for literally for 2 weeks for USD Swiss franc to fall. All right. We initially started our bearish bias back in April. Okay. The end of April is where, when we started to get this reversal pattern, right? And I called this, if you've been, some of you guys are veterans watching my weekly outlooks every week, so you'll know that even 3 weeks ago when USD Swiss franc was at these highs, I called a sell on USD Swiss franc because, I mean, you don't even need to see anything but just the naked chart that you can see that while we're in this rally. Like, the rally doesn't matter, but what matters is after the rally, you can see that price just kind of like stops like dead in its tracks. Then we get an exhaustion candle, we get a lot of wicks. So we got our reversal chart. I'm also going to delete, I pretty much just wanted to recap this with you guys, but I'm going to delete everything on here. These green boxes are relevant to, not last week's webinar, but the previous week. So like I said, 2 weeks ago, I was bearish on USD Swiss franc, and I had outlined that these were just some rejections at highs. So now that we've gotten the downside, I'm going to remove these. This was just marking off a couple different highs. And then this orange, actually not that orange box, this orange box right here was relative to where I said price would move to with USD Swiss franc. So our original target was going back to the lows, or back to the area of the previous bull flag, okay? And that all happened. So I'm actually going to remove all that. So we have a nice, very clean chart. I'm also going to delete that because that's no longer relevant, because we already basically like hunted the stop losses, if that makes sense, for that area. And I am still bearish on USD Swiss franc, right? I mean, that should be pretty self-explanatory when I'm still bullish on Euro USD and I'm still bearish on the dollar. I'm bearish on USD Swiss franc. I drew a couple crude trend lines, all right? You guys will know, especially my students that are trading with me on a daily basis, know that I, always talk about trend lines, and I don't have big importance on them. They're just kind of something to eyeball, but really, just to kind of give you guys, as far as like level of importance in my brain of what I'm looking at, is this right here, is the dollar index. Okay, is the dollar index, because pretty much I'm just gonna, everything at least these pairs that I'm looking at, Euro USD, gold, USD Swiss franc, and then dollar yen that we're gonna look at in a moment. All of these have obviously the US dollar in them. Okay, so if you know what the dollar index is doing or what the US dollar is doing, then you have a good idea of what the rest of these pairs are doing. So my main focus, I'm not really too concerned on how low or exactly where USD Swiss franc is going to go to. I'm more so looking at the dollar index, and when the dollar index gets to a nice level of support, that's where we can expect the dollar USD Swiss franc to also most likely find a level of support also. Okay. And then dollar yen, and you'll also notice actually that if you watched last week's outlook, these are the same pairs. I haven't added any new pairs. Some weeks will go like, trading completely different pairs from one week to the next, but this week I'm just still riding with the pairs from last week. Dollar yen, similar scenario, just everything weak US dollar, okay? I called it last week. If you were on Monday's outlook, I said US dollar dollar yen would probably continue to go lower as well, because it just makes sense, right? I mean, I know it kind of sounds boring or to me at least, it sounds boring when I'm talking about the charts sometimes, because since all of them correlate, it's like, since I basically only have to say, well, I think one thing is going to do, like the dollar index, and then, some of you guys that understand these correlations and follow along and pay attention, you already know what I'm going to say when I get to these other pairs. So again, I think dollar yen is going to continue to move lower, and I actually think a lot of these pairs where the yen is the quote currency. So if you guys don't know the difference between base currency and quote currency, I mean, that's super basics, but base is the one that's on the left, quote is the one that's on the right. All right, so pound yen, dollar yen, euro yen, Aussie dollar yen, all of these pairs, the yen is sitting in the quote position, and you can see on all of them, they're all pretty much breaking out of a range and moving lower. So Aussie dollar yen, you can see, breaking this level of support right here just last week, and now it's moving out of that area. Euro yen, same thing, breaking support and moving lower. Dollar yen, it doesn't have the same consolidation like those two pairs do, but you see what I'm saying. Same thing with pound yen. It's breaking some support and moving lower. All right, so I think that this rally or this dip on these pairs are going to continue. I just have dollar yen marked off specifically because it has, like I said, it has that correlation to the US dollar. Also, just to kind of add my 2 cents in as to why I believe safe havens are strengthening right now. So safe havens being the yen. Okay, so obviously we just talked about all these pairs are going down, so that means that the yen is picking up strength. And then USD Swiss franc last week moved lower. Okay, so Swiss franc picked up strength. And then gold is, gold is has been consolidating for a little bit, but it's getting there, right? It's the volatility is going to be picking up, and we're seeing some upside right now on gold. So a lot of safe havens are performing really well. And if you guys don't know, because maybe some of you guys just don't know, there have been basically like a trade war going on. So the U.S. and China have been going back and forth between trades. So Trump is, you guys have probably seen somewhere on the news, somewhere, that there have been some trade talks going on. And with that uncertainty, I think that that's why the safe havens are doing well right now. If you guys have been following anything with the trade wars, also, it's just been a kind of a mess. Trump is just kind of going back and forth with things. China's going back and forth with things. They're talking about changing and raising tariffs and adding tariffs. So there's a lot of basically just hesitation and uncertainty. I think that's probably the best word to use, is uncertainty. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Maybe some people can hypothesize what's going to happen, but nobody really knows exactly what's going to happen. So, just generally, rule of thumb, just by the book, it says that, when there's uncertainty, we see safe havens do well. So, as these trade talks continue, that may add some more strength to these safe havens, okay? And then also, obviously the U.S. dollar, right? The U.S. dollar weakening, that adds strength to all these other pairs as well, to these other currencies as well. The yen will inevitably get stronger against the dollar if the dollar is getting weaker, right? Just like all these other pairs. So if it's not clear enough, I think I've said about a dozen times just on this webinar alone already that I am bearish on the US dollar, guys. And guys, it's seriously this simple. Like, I'm not going to get too much into mindset or ranty or anything like that, but just I can't stress it enough, guys. If you are not getting results in the market, it is because you don't have the right information, right? Point blank, right? It doesn't matter what you're trying to get into, not just Forex, but anything in the world. If you're not getting results at something, it's because you aren't getting the right information, right? You aren't being told the right information. So you need to surround yourself with the right information. I'm telling you guys, like, even if you aren't able to afford to be in my signals group with my students, which is literally less than $2 a day, to be able to be on my daily webinars and going through my webinars and things like that. Just at least just make sure you guys are following, paying attention, writing down things on these weekly outlooks, because I'm not trying to sound arrogant or anything like that, but this is just the facts. Like last week, if you wanted to make money last week in the market, if you just simply would have paid attention to this picture that I posted in Telegram on the 6th, you might have been able to find some. Depends on how you look at the market and you do things, but the market went up. That's the point, right? It went in the direction that I wanted it to. So if you wanted, you're having a professional that is giving you an edge, right? And I'm not going to be right all the time, right? There's times I'm going to be completely wrong, but I'm right a good percentage of the time, right? I'm right more than half of the time. So just use this as an edge to you guys, right? And a lot of times, there's going to be weeks that are clearer than others, and it's just been extremely clear the past 2 weeks that the dollar was going to weaken. Okay, we saw it on multiple levels. We talked about it back here, the rejections at these highs on the dollar index. So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, if this is news to you about why I'm short on the dollar, I just strongly urge you, just go watch. I know you're watching past analysis that's already happened, but that doesn't matter. What matters is how I explain stuff. And I have actually on previous webinars, I have broken down, probably USD Swiss franc, I gave the best explanation. Not last week, if you're trying to watch the recordings, obviously not this one that's on here, but not last week's, but the week before last. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I spent a solid 10-15 minutes breaking down my just mindset, what I'm seeing on USD Swiss franc, of why I thought USD Swiss franc was going to go down, and how I knew that the dollar index was going to go down. Okay, so if you want to know all that, watch the webinars. Okay, because I do break this stuff down. And then, of course, I get more in depth with my students on a day-to-day basis, but that is for another time with my students. But guys, that's pretty much it. I don't really have much else. I'm gonna look at see if there's anything in the chat. It doesn't look like there's much in the chat. Um, Guys, I mean, all I can ask is consider liking this video if you've made it this far um, into the weekly outlook. Please consider liking the video, guys. That's all I ask in exchange. Drew, you're asking for pound dollar. So actually, pound pairs, I don't even want to like look at right now. Same thing with oil. I don't want to look at. Like, look at the pound. This is the weekly chart. You know, you'd think that you're looking at like the hourly chart or like the 4 hour or maybe even the daily on this. But can you believe that this is the weekly chart? Like, this is the nasty consolidation, right? Like, you aren't. It's in my opinion, at least like the way I trade, I don't really see a lot of opportunity in pound dollar. I don't even have a good direction to be able to call with pound dollar, right? Pound yen, I can say because of I think the yen is going to continue to strengthen. Pound yen should go lower, but yeah, pound dollar is ugly. I don't see. I mean obviously everybody sees things differently, but I don't see anything. Yes, had us both confused last week. Yeah, I mean, last week I was looking for upside on pound. I mean, naturally with dollar weakness, I would be looking for upside on pound dollar, right? That didn't happen, right? Pound dollar continued lower, right? But that's why. I mean, I didn't jump into anything. I didn't trade pound dollar, so I didn't get into it. I think it's pretty nasty. Okay, and pound yen looks bearish also. All right. Um, So yeah, I've given you guys a couple minutes to put some stuff in the chat. That's all we've had is asking about the pound dollar. So that's going to be it, guys. That's going to wrap it up. So again, Euro USD moving up to 113 still. Dollar index should continue to drop still. Gold should break 1288 and move up to 1300. And USD Swiss franc should still continue going lower. I don't have a price target for USD Swiss franc. Okay, I'll just be honest. All right, I don't. I mean, I don't. You know, I just don't have one. I'm not a big fan of the targets. I don't really see a logical area where price could reverse. We're just gonna kind of have to take it step by step, candle by candle, day by day, and just kind of look and see where we start to find some support at. Okay. But my long-term outlook is bullish on the US dollar. Just right now we're still bearish for the next couple weeks probably. We'll be bearish on the dollar index and then we'll look at taking a nice long bull run on the dollar. Okay? Who knows? I mean, I'm just like spitballing here. Like I'm still bullish on the dollar, but who knows? There could be like some crazy thing that happens and the dollar like starts a major sell off and we see some major downside on the dollar and a bunch of like safe havens rocket, but I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that the dollar is going to ultimately break this inverted head and shoulders that we've been waiting. You know, it's been forming since early 2017, right? Early 2017, and then middle of 2017, we got our left shoulder, right? Or we didn't even really get the left shoulder. I mean, that's where it started to bottom at, and then we moved lower. We got our head of our inverted head and shoulders beginning of 2018. We got our right shoulder in September of 2018. All right, so this is all last year. And then we completed it in December. Okay, we went up to our neckline in December. I mean, it's not technically complete. We haven't broken. I mean, it depends on who you talk to. Some people would say head and shoulders is complete when it's gotten, you know, to the bottom or top of the left foot, respectively, if it's inverted or not inverted. Other people would say if it breaks the neckline. Other people would say if it just touches the neckline. Okay. Anyways, that's gonna be it for the week, guys. Okay, that's my outlook. So capitalize on it, guys. Do what you will with it. But other than that, students, I will see you tomorrow for our first daily webinar of the week. Everybody else, I'll see you on next week's weekly outlook. And stay safe out there, guys, trading. Make sure you use good risk management. Take care, guys.